There was a hand plane sitting on a card table at an estate sale in southern Ohio last fall. Rusty, no box. The blade hadn't been sharpened in 30 years. The tag said $2. It was a Stanley No. 1, 5.5 inches long, smallest bench plane Stanley ever made. It sold for $7,700 at a Donnelly auction. $7,700 out of a $2 card table. Let me be straight before we start. Most old hand planes are a $20 to $50 tool. Out of 100 planes at a farm auction, 90 are worth what they're sitting in, but 10 on this list are worth checking, and one of them might be in your grandfather's workshop right now. Subscribe before we start. Number 10, Stanley No. 4 with the Sweetheart logo. The Stanley No. 4 is the most common hand plane in America. Millions were made. Most are worth $15 to $50, and you can find one at every garage sale from Maine to Oregon. But if you flip it over and look at the blade, you might see a heart with the letters S and W stamped inside it. That is the Sweetheart logo, and it dates the plane between 1920 and 1935. A Sweetheart era No. 4 in clean condition with the original rosewood handle and knob, 90% or more of the black Japanning still on the body, and a full-length blade can bring $100 to $200. The Japanning is the key. That black finish wears off with use, and most working planes lost theirs decades ago. A Sweetheart 4 with near-perfect Japanning means the plane was barely used, and barely used is what collectors pay for. Check the blade for the heart logo. Check the body for intact Japanning. Check the handle for original rosewood, not a replacement. Number 9, Keen Kutter hand planes. Keen Kutter was the house brand of Simmons Hardware Company out of St. Louis, Missouri. They didn't make their own planes. They contracted Stanley, Ohio Tool, and Sargent to build planes that Simmons then branded with the Keen Kutter name and the famous splitting wedge logo. A Keen Kutter plane is the same iron as a Stanley, built in the same factory with a different name on the lever cap. Collectors hunt them as a separate category because the Keen Kutter brand has its own following, and early examples with the E.C. Simmons mark above the logo are the most sought after. A Keen Kutter jack plane in good condition brings $50 to $150. The rarer models, the tailed block planes and the Bedrock pattern smoothers that Simmons ordered from Stanley, can reach $200 to $300. The mark to watch for is the wedge and bar logo with E.C. Simmons across the top. If it says Shapley instead, that's the later version after Simmons was bought out in 1940. Still collectible, but worth less. Number 8, Stanley No. 45 combination plane. This plane came with a set of interchangeable steel cutters that slid into the body, each one ground to cut a different molding profile. Tongue and groove, beading, fluting, rabbiting, all from one plane. By itself, a No. 45 without cutters is a $50 to $100 tool, but a complete set with all the cutters organized in the original two-tiered wooden box with the Stanley label on the lid brings $200 to $500. The box is the multiplier. Most 45s were taken apart over the decades, and the cutters scattered into drawers, coffee cans, and junk bins. Finding one complete is the whole game. At an estate cleanout, check the workbench drawers before you check the tool rack. The cutters are small enough to fit in a cigar box, and that's usually where they end up. Number 7, Stanley Bedrock planes. A Stanley Bedrock looks almost identical to a standard Bailey pattern Stanley. Same shape, same size, same handle. The difference is inside. The frog on a Bedrock sits on a machine flat that allows the entire frog to slide forward and back without removing the blade. On a standard Stanley, adjusting the frog means disassembling the plane. The Bedrock was Stanley's premium line, sold at a higher price and made in smaller numbers. Turn the plane over. If the word Bedrock is cast into the body behind the frog, you have one. Most people never look. A Bedrock 604 or 605 in clean condition brings $200 to $400. A Bedrock 608 joiner in fine shape can reach $600. The biggest mistake people make is selling a Bedrock as a regular Stanley because they never turned it over. Number 6, Winchester hand planes. Winchester made hand tools for about 10 years in the 1920s. Planes, chisels, screwdrivers, levels, the full line. The tools themselves were average quality, nothing special compared to Stanley, but the Winchester name on the casting changes everything. Winchester firearms collectors want every item the company ever stamped, and that includes hand tools. A Winchester smoothing plane in clean condition brings $200 to $500. A Winchester block plane can reach $300. A rare Winchester transitional plane with a wooden body and Winchester iron has sold for over $800. The tool didn't earn that price, the name did. At a gun show in western Pennsylvania, a dealer had a box of old hand tools under a table of lever-action rifles. 3 planes in the box. One of them had Winchester stamped into the lever cap. It was priced at $35 because the dealer sold guns, not tools. It was worth 10 times that to the right buyer. Number 5, Stanley No. 55 Universal Combination Plane. Stanley called it the plane of planes, up to 55 interchangeable cutters, each one stored in its own slot in a multi-tiered wooden case. The plane itself is a complex assembly of fences, depth stops, sliding sections, and adjustable arms. It could cut any molding profile, any tongue and groove, any bead or flute that a woodworker needed. A number 55 without cutters or box is a curiosity worth $100 to $200. A complete set with all 55 cutters, both fence rods, the depth stops, and the original labeled wooden case brings $500 to $1,500. The condition of the case matters almost as much as the condition of the plane. A case with a clean, readable Stanley label on the lid and all the cutters in their correct slots is what separates a $500 set from a $1,500 set. Number 4, Stanley No. 2 Smooth Plane. The number 2 is the second smallest bench plane Stanley made, bigger than the number 1, but still too small for most serious work. Stanley made far fewer number 2s than number 4s or 5s, which means fewer survived. A clean number 2 with the original rosewood tote, full-length blade, and intact japanning brings $300 to $650. Condition makes the whole difference at this level. A number 2 with a replaced handle or heavy pitting on the sole drops to $150 or less. The identification is simple. It is noticeably smaller than a number 4, but larger than a block plane. The number 2 is cast into the bed behind the frog. Most people who own one don't realize it's anything other than a small Stanley because they never checked the number. Number 3, Norris infill smoothing plane, British made, dovetailed steel or gunmetal body filled with a dense block of rosewood or ebony. The wood gives the plane mass and dampens vibration. The steel body is hand-fitted, not cast. A Norris infill plane was the most expensive hand plane a woodworker could buy in the early 20th century, and it still is. A Norris A5 smoothing plane in good condition brings $500 to $1,500. Rare models with gunmetal bodies and original Norris blades can reach $3,000 or more. You won't find these at a typical American garage sale. They turn up at estate auctions of serious woodworkers, in the shops of cabinet makers who imported British tools, and occasionally in antique tool dealer inventories. The dovetailed seams on the body are the first identification feature. No American manufacturer dovetailed a plain body. If the seams are visible on the sides, it's an infill, and it's worth stopping for. And this is where it gets serious. Number 2, Pre-lateral Stanley planes. The earliest Stanley Bailey planes, made before roughly 1885, have no lateral adjustment lever. On a modern Stanley, there is a small lever sticking out of the left side of the frog that tilts the blade side to side. On a pre-lateral plane, that lever doesn't exist. The blade was adjusted with a hammer tap and the user's eye. If you pick up an old Stanley and the frog is missing that lever, you might be holding a Type 1 through Type 4 plane from the 1860s or 1870s. These are among the earliest metallic bench planes made in America. A pre-lateral Stanley in good condition brings $500 to $2,000 depending on the type and condition. The identification is straightforward. No lateral lever. Check the patent dates cast into the bed. Early models carry only Leonard Bailey's patent dates, not Stanley's. If you see Bailey's name without Stanley's, you are holding a piece of American tool-making history, and you should not sell it at a yard sale. Number 1, Stanley No. 1 smooth plane, 5.5 inches long. A blade 1.25 inches wide, the smallest bench plane Stanley ever manufactured. It is too small to fit comfortably in an adult hand. It was probably never practical for real work, and some historians believe it was made as a salesman's sample to demonstrate what the larger Stanley planes looked like. Stanley produced a No. 1 in small quantities from the 1860s into the early 20th century. Very few survived because very few were made. The Stanley No. 1 is the single most sought-after plane in tool collecting. It is the piece that completes a set. Every serious Stanley collector wants one, and there aren't enough to go around. A No. 1 in good condition with original rosewood toad and knob, clean Japanning, and a full-length blade sells for $800 to $2,000 through dealers. At auction, in front of competitive bidders, it goes higher. The documented record at Martin J. Donnelly Antique Tools, the most respected tool auction house in the country, is $7,700 for a single Stanley No. 1 in exceptional condition. Here's how to check. The No. 1 is 5.5 inches long. That's shorter than a dollar bill. It has no lateral adjustment lever on the earliest types. The No. 1 is cast into the bed. The rosewood tote is tiny, and the front knob is barely an inch across. If you find one, do not clean it, do not sharpen it, and do not try to use it. Take it to somebody who knows what it is. One more thing, reproductions exist. A genuine No. 1 has sharp casting lines, a properly fitted lever cap, and patent dates that match the type. A reproduction feels wrong in the hand. The casting is heavier, the fit is looser, and the details are soft. If you have handled real Stanley planes your whole life, a fake No. 1 feels like a fake the moment you pick it up. Every plane on this list started the same way, sitting on a shelf, in a drawer, in a toolbox, in a barn. Most of the time it is worth $20. Every once in a while it is worth $2,000. The difference is knowing which marks to read and which numbers to check. Turn the plane over, look at the blade, read the casting, and if you find something you can't identify, don't sell it until you do. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and watch the next video above.